Hi FlossTube, my name's Shelly and you found my YouTube channel, Oh My Ada. Today is December 27th, 2019 and this is my YouTube video all about cross stitch and my life. So if you've never done cross stitch before, you might want to hang out for a while and see what it's all about. I'm trying to get familiar with filming. I don't feel that secure and confident yet. But I know with each new floss tube I do, I'm getting better and I'm feeling more relaxed. I like that. What I'd like to talk about today is really my year in review. I started watching FlossTube in April and I didn't start cross stitching until June when I got off work for the summer because I'm a high school teacher. I have found a lot of helpful YouTubers, and I would like to thank you for inviting me into your home each week and for sharing your knowledge, which is helping me grow as a cross stitcher myself. I can't believe my last FlossTube video was in the end of October, but it didn't upload until November, so it's been 2 full months, but I've had a lot of cross stitch happening. And one of the things that I did in November is I invited my colleagues to join me in a beginning stitchers class. I'm not an expert. I'm not pretending to be an expert. I'm not even trying to blow up the internet. I just want to be me. I want to share my love of cross stitch. I want to learn from you. Hopefully I can impart a few words of wisdom. And since many of you have been around for 7 years, this is like 6 months for me. So hopefully what you find when you watch my channel is patterns you may have in your stash, or you might remember things, debacles you've had when stitching with Krynic or stitching on a small count or a high count. So maybe you're able to reminisce with me and chuckle a little bit, because we can't take cross stitching, we can't take our lives too seriously. Let's see. To finish out what I was talking about, the students in the class, my fellow teachers, they all agreed that they wanted to do a meetup. So we have a meetup scheduled for January 13th. It's a Monday. It'll be 2020. And we're going to stitch at a Panera near us. And if you're in the San Jose, California area, send me a message and, you're welcome to join us as well. The other exciting news I have is that more people wanted to go to the beginning cross stitch class, but they weren't able to make the date. So after the 13th, I'm going to set up a new date for a second beginning cross stitch class. And what I love about this is that I haven't really met any floss tubers that are local to me. And so I'm growing some cross stitchers, and hopefully more of you that are in the Bay Area can let me know about retreats. I did sign up for StitchCon and I got my invoice. I want to say the 23rd or the 24th, but I paid that invoice so quick my head spun, because I'm really looking forward to meeting Pam and Steph and any of the other floss tubers that I've gotten to know. I do feel part of the family, and I think it's warm and inviting and wonderful that so many people will invite complete strangers into their life, and we can support each other with words of encouragement to get us through difficult times, advice for cross stitching, and where do you get your best patterns. All of that is fabulous, especially when I don't have anyone that's supportive in my family. So FlossTube has become the family that I've chosen, and I really appreciate that. The other StitchCon I paid the invoice for, but I also got another invoice for HadeCon, I think. I'm sorry if I got it wrong. But that one's on the West Coast in October of 2020. So, of course, I've got to go to that. And at the time when I got the invoice for HadeCon, I found out, or I wasn't sure that I would be into StitchCon. So now I get to go to both. And I'm available to go to more. I just need to research and find out where people meet up. And I'm sure if you have any ideas or suggestions, you're going to leave me a comment down here in the messages. I keep moving my computer and I feel that I'm moving back and forth a bit too much. So I am going to try to stop doing that. And the reason that I'm turning off the computer and pausing iMovie, it's because I forget where I'm going to go next. But I have been stopping a lot less, and my clips are a lot longer than my first 2 or 3 floss tubes. Eventually, I'll be able to kick back and not worry about it, but I worry. I'm that type of person. I have anxieties, and truth be told, I know a lot of you do. And I think this is a great way to learn about each other before going to a meetup or a Stitch Con or a Hade Con, because it takes some of the pressure off. I will know who people are. I don't know that anyone will know who I am, but I get to learn who you are and what patterns you like to stitch. And any of that information is always helpful. I do have exciting news I want to share, and I may have to pause to find the chart, but I thought I'd pulled everything out when I was setting up. I didn't, because looking over to my side here, I realized the pattern might not be out. But that's okay. Oh, there it is. I did see it. So I won a giveaway. I was so excited. I don't sign up for all giveaways because I don't want all the charts, although I have accumulated quite a large stash. I do try to only sign up for a couple of the giveaways, and I won a giveaway from Dena, who's half stitch cross stitch, and I love her videos. And I thought about maybe doing a blog series like she does, because you can do short little clips per day or every other day, and then at the end fuse them all together. And I do like that idea, but I'm doing okay this way as well. Now, it was funny because I didn't really forget, but I didn't remember that I'd put my name in for the pattern. And then she put the number in the random generator, and I kept chanting, "Oh my Ada, oh my Ada, oh my Ada." And guess what? The random generator called or exported my number, and I got a pattern from Dena that she has finished stitching. So I'm going to move a little bit over, and I'm going to share the chart with you. I first saw this start with Stephanie, MsOhSewCrafty, and I fell in love with it, and I have looked for it. So I don't know that this is an out-of-print chart, but I think it is difficult to find. And so I won Joyful Teddy, and I can't wait to stitch her. I've already called her a her. This is a Joan Elliott design, as you can see, and it's very Christmassy. I have chosen a fabric that I'm going to use, but I'm kind of wavering between two, so maybe you can help me. The two fabrics that I'm thinking about are both Aida fabrics, and this one is opalescent, and you can see the sparkle. And the reason I think an opalescent would look good on this pattern, see the background? It's a window, and even if it's not snowing, that little opalescence can make it feel more wintry, I believe. But then I have another Aida, which is white and silver Lugana. And I think Lugana is my favorite fabric to stitch on. And looking at this uh, in the viewfinder, if that's what it's called, I think I like the Lugana so much better than the Aida. So, what do you think? It would be helpful if you told me which one. But I love the feel of Lugana, and I think that's my favorite fabric so far. But Picture This Plus is also phenomenal. Their Aida is so soft and buttery. And I have a pattern that I'm working on, my travel pattern, and that's on Picture This Plus. And I'll talk about that when I get there. I will use this opalescence, but I really do think this, just looking at it, this might have to be my Joyful Teddy fabric. So Dena from Half Stitch Cross Stitch, thank you so much. I did get you a little something to send back to you. As you know, no pattern should travel alone. So she also sent me some buttons and some fabric. And I found an adorable pattern that I want to send her. And I thought I would have it ready for her birthday, because I believe her birthday's on December 23rd, I believe. I could be off a day or two. I had it all in my phone, and I got a new phone, and my calendar didn't transfer all the way over. And so, Dena, happy birthday if you're watching. It's a little belated. And you will get a package from me in the mail as well. And I hope you enjoy what I've given you. I'm not going to tell you which pattern I'm sending her. It is a full kit, but if you want to find out, she may or may not put it on her FlossTube channel, but you can subscribe or view, and I'll put her link down in the bottom, of course. And if you haven't noticed, there's a subscribe button right here. Please subscribe, and if you like my video, also give me a thumbs up. I found that I've not been doing that enough lately, so I watch FlossTube every day, but I need to start giving more thumbs up. I was doing it with every video I watched at first, but lately, not so much. So I was just pleased as punch to win this chart. And Dena had a stitch along for the month of December for her birthday. And I thought, wouldn't it be amazing to start this chart since she gave it to me? But I looked at the floss list, and it does require Kreinik. And I thought, I'm not ready to attempt Kreinik yet. And I wanted to continue practicing on a pattern that I got out of the Cross Stitcher magazine, November 2015. It is a digital edition, so I am going to pause. I'm going to pull that out. I do have a picture of the pattern on my tablet, and I'll talk to you about my Kreinik woes. Yesterday I was hemming and hawing after I'd watched half stitch cross stitch, and I was going back and forth, and I felt bad because I thought it would be really great to stitch Joyful Teddy since I received it from her. And then what I realized is I think it was a blessing in disguise, and that gets me into using DMC light effects. The pattern that I'm using, the pattern that I'm making, Baby It's Cold Outside, is from Cross Stitcher Magazine, November 2015. Let me go ahead and show you a picture. I fell in love with this pattern, and yeah, I do apologize. Okay. It is on dark chocolate Lugana 28 count. I did use the called for colors in both of the mugs, but instead of using white for the lettering, I went ahead and I decided to use light effects. I'd never used them, but I thought, how difficult could it be? And some people actually like using Kreinik and light effects and filament and um, other flosses. It wasn't a lot of lettering, and I started with the lowercase letters at the bottom. It's cold outside. And while I wasn't happy with every single stitch, it looked good. All right. But then I got to the uppercase letters in Baby, and all my confidence deflated. So this is what it looks like now. Baby It's Cold Outside. You can see I'm almost done filling in the green hot chocolate cup and the reddish orange right here by my pinky. It needs to be filled in as well. And then I'm going to frame this. Now, what you can't see, and I'm trying to see it in the viewer, it looks a little iffy, trying to get a good view. But between the B and, I apologize, but I know you guys have the same difficulties. So here's what I'm going to do. Between the B and the Y, and actually the A and the B here, pulling two strands of the light effects actually ripped through a piece of the Lugana fabric right here. I was devastated. And I'd already finished both mugs, right? And I'd finished the lettering, almost all the lettering. So what I did was I chose a thread color very close to the dark chocolate. And under Baby, the direct line under Baby, I went ahead and did a row of 1/1 in a color as close as I could get to the dark chocolate Laguna. And I see a little bit, but that's because I know it's there. I actually don't think it's noticeable because I also took a picture and put it on my Instagram page, and I tagged, who did I tag? I tagged it, Dena, of course, and her birthday Sal tag is hashtag half stitch BD Sal. Hashtag half stitch BD Sal. And if you sewed anything Christmas and thought of her as you were stitching, that's what she was hoping for. And because it is December, she made it a Christmas Sal. Didn't matter which pattern you were working on. And since the pattern I just showed you, my WIP, is for Christmas, I haven't shown you my cross stitch mug. I love it. I got this at Zazzle, which is an online store. And you could get this pattern on just about whatever you wanted. And I chose from patterns that were already there. And I got this mug and another mug because I love coffee and I have a whole hoard of mugs that I use. Because my fabric is 28 count, I'm not going to give up on the light effects. And the light effects I used E5200, and it does. I thought I wanted, 5200. I wanted something a little pop, a little sparkle, and I wasn't expecting it to tear. Whatever. But that is going to be a gift for my mom. She decks out the house for Christmas, and I'll put that in a frame. Yeah, it's December 27th, but I have a few more days to get it finished before she puts away her Christmas stuff. And if I don't get it FFO'd, I'll show it to her and I'll FFO it and give it to her in November of 2020 when she puts out the Christmas stuff. Joyful Teddy, I have the fabric, I have the chart. I need to get the Krynic and the beads. I'll get those from 123 Stitch, but I'm going to get the floss from Michaels. And the way I order my floss is online for in-store pickup. And I always wait till I get an email that says 40% off all in-store, order online, pick up in store. And the remarkable thing is I could load up my shopping cart and not purchase it, and the very next day I would get the 40% off reminder. And that's when I go back and I purchase it. And typically you can pick it up on the same day. I've had a few problems where they haven't had the color even though it went in my cart, and I've never been upset about that. I've just gone over to the floss and chosen a couple other colors that I might need. 310 is always a good one. All right. So I will finish Baby It's Cold Outside before January 1st. And then on January 1st, I will start Joyful Teddy. And that'll be my Christmas project through the year. My next project is a long dog sampler. And it's called Rose Marquis. And you can use, you have to choose your own colors. I didn't get this, but I purchased this because I wanted to do a monochromatic pattern whenever I left the house. And thankfully, I was smart enough to put it on an 18 count so I could see the holes without assistance. 20, I use a magnifier. 20 and up, I use a magnifier. And that just helps me get nice, pretty stitches. What was I talking about? Rose Marquis. And I started Rose Marquis in July of 2019. And the reason I needed a pattern is because I go to a conference every year. And in that, the conference is a week long, and we sit and we listen to new business items, and we vote on where we want NEA, the National Education Association, where we want NEA to head for the next year. Now, I wrote it down, this is an 18 count, picture this plus shale. And that's what I told you earlier. I had some Ada Picture This Plus that I absolutely love. This is it. And this is halfway through the pattern. And so I'm going to have a lot left over, and I'm happy about that. When I first started stitching this, I decided, and I don't know what possessed me, I decided to stitch 3/1 on 18 count, and it shredded the fabric. So eventually I'm going to need to frog the 2 boxes right here, and I'll get that done. But I did start it, and there's plenty of fabric, and it's not going to be too much bigger because it's a mirrored image, so I've got the majority of it done. The only reason I want to frog over here is due to the fact that it might be visible when it's framed, and if that's the case, I do need to take it out. So that's Rose Marquis, my travel stitch. And whenever I go to my parents, I take this with me. I took it to Savannah when I was in Savannah for a week. It's gone with me gambling. This guy is traveling with me across the country, and he's getting a pretty good workout. That is Rose Marquis by Long Dog Sampler. I chuckle every time I hear the name of the pattern maker, the company, and I've done it myself, but on at least 3 different occasions listening to FlossTube, I've heard it referred to as Long Dong Sampler, and I have to chuckle because I've done that as well. I'm not addicted to sex. I don't watch porn. I mean, it's there, why not? But I don't, and yet every time I see that title, my mind goes Long Dong Sampler, not Long Dog Sampler. And I know there are more people than just me and those 3 other floss tubers that do it. So it does get me to chuckle a little bit. All right, so I'm going to move on to my next WIP. And it's actually my birthday sal that I started in October. And this is a pattern from Design Works. And I don't remember the name of it, but it's coffee. And it will have 3 squares this way and 4 squares going down. And you can see that I have 4 done. The reason I'm working in the center, those center cups, is because I really struggled to line up the pattern when I made a working copy. And so I'm doing those to get them out of the way. This bugger here, I had to frog. The handle of each cup, each jug goes into the border, and so I had to fix that. I couldn't let it slide. I am going to stitch these and make them full coverage because I've looked at the artwork, and you can look at my Instagram if you want to see the artwork as well. The original artwork is beautiful, and I've seen this with back stitching, and it looks wonderful. In fact, I don't know how much she's done, but Jessie Marie showed the pattern in her WIP, her year in review and her WIP parade for 2019. So she's working on it too. I'm working on it with Mary T. Clump, and you can follow me on Instagram, and I'll put my handle down below like I typically do, because my Instagram handle is not Oh My Ada. For some reason, it's taken, and it's not a FlossTube name. But my Instagram name is Shelley, SHELLEY 70S. And you can see where Mary has tagged me and I've tagged Mary. And I really like looking at both pieces side to side and how we're artistically different, but both of our patterns are vibrant and full of life. And so there's not just one way to stitch a pattern. And that makes me happy. The other way to see our progress on my birthday Sal is trying the hashtag Java 365 SAL. And then that might be easier just to type that in, but you can follow me on Instagram. It's not a big deal. I also have a Haid. Can you believe it? Now, for my Haid, I had purchased the called for fabric, which was 25 count white Lugana. I couldn't see the holes. I couldn't see the holes. So the sampler that I just showed you of the coffee, now that has, I'm using the 25 count Lugana on that because I got a magnifying lamp and I can see it through the magnifying lamp. I also went down to a 20 count. Oh, and I have it wrong. You'll see I still have it wrong. Come on, Shelly. All right. You can tell that I park. Otherwise, I have to look at it. I apologize. You can tell that I park. And I like working on the diagonal. There are mistakes. And I thought about starting this over. By the way, this is 20 count Lugana. The artist is Randall Spangler, and the design from Heaven and Earth Designs is So Many Books, So Little Time. All right. The end of page 1 is right here. So I'm working down a little bit. And I started this in June, and I decided this would be an every other month pattern. In November, I got a lot of this done right here. In fact, I got that diagonal done. And I realized I need to spend a little more time on it each week instead of every other month. Because what happens is I'm forgetting, what is this fabric? And then I try to match it as close as I can. Especially in this bottom section where I've moved to the next page to do that. I am working on a mini. I don't think there's anything wrong with that because there are so many Haid patterns that I want to do. I'm not limiting myself by choosing the multicolor expansion pack, yada, yada, yada. I realize that might be your thing, and you go. Don't let me or anyone else hold you back. This is honestly 100% my philosophy. And you can take it, but I'm not preaching it, or you can leave it. And it's not going to hurt my feelings because I'm not telling you to stop, right? Why would I do that? Stitching makes me happy. If it didn't make me happy, I wouldn't do it. And so I would hope that stitching makes you happy as well, and the decisions you make, right? So I do want to show you my first stitch along. And some of you may have done it. This is from Cheryl McKinney. And her friend Virginia made this pattern for her. No Drama Club. You can see over here, the flower is almost done. I apologize. And the glare, good grief. And then No Drama Club was almost done. And then I saw this A and I stopped working. Why? I can fix the A. This is my first project where I was using, well, my first SAL. Um, and I actually started working on this before I started working on the hay. And I was using the pin stitch. So I didn't mind that these colors changed every line. But if the A is off kilter, and I apologize for the glare, and so I just never went back to rip it. But it would be an easy fix. And what I apologize, what Cheryl mentioned was that, it doesn't take a monumental feat for us to stitch 30 minutes a day. And if you promise yourself 30 minutes a day on a project, you will have progress. And so, oops, I did have progress on that. I was working on it more than 30 minutes a day. And then I got my HAID and I didn't go back to my SAL. But I will. I'll eventually go back. And then here is another Sue Hillis design, and I stopped working on this. I told you I'm a teacher, and in my other life, not my FlossTube life, I'm a pirate. That's our school mascot. And we do a Christmas exchange or a Secret Santa every year. And I've participated, and this would have been the third year. And since our mascot is a pirate, how can you not want to give this to someone? I worked on it in the color Mystic, and it is a 28 count cashel linen. Oh, no. My problem, I have multiple problems, but I do have the head. Oops, I don't know why. I do have the head complete. And it's so tiny because it is on 28 count. And so if I didn't, I love my Hello Kitty needle minder here. If I didn't finish this, I would feel bad. And then Sue Hillis has another ornament with, or not ornament, another cross stitch with pirates. She has it's 3. And I also want to, and I own it, I want to stitch Women Who Behave Rarely Make History. And I want to put that in my room. And I'm probably going to make it for at least one other person for their classroom as well. So I will get back to that, but I don't feel the urge to get to it today or tomorrow or next week. All right. I've talked about my SAL. I've talked about Dena's SAL. I've talked about Cheryl's SAL. If you watch Sunshine Stitchers, Sheila talked about having the 2020 calendar, and I didn't really want the calendar until she showed all the images. And I'll show you the back, but if you want to go see each full shot image, you can go to Sunshine Stitchers, and I'll put their information down here in the messages. Did you click like? No. Did you click subscribe? Go for it. There you go. Not Wednesday, in March, there's going to be a SAL, according to Sheila, and I believe her, no reason not to. People with the calendar are going to stitch their favorite image, their favorite project. And when I was looking at them, the jellyfish really caught my eye. But that lion down here is, uh, I love the mane and the colors and everything else. Um, but this is on Amazon, and you can see Cross Stitching 2020 activity calendar. Um, it I'll go ahead and put a link to the Amazon or to the calendar on Amazon down here for you, and you can go look there. All right. So I had a lot more to say, but I don't really need to say it. I've gone through all of my points, and you've seen all of my WIPs except my Christmas ornaments. I was bad. Back in July, I was buying the Mill Hill ornament kits, and I thought, wouldn't it be great if I stitched 2 ornaments a month? Back then it was 1 ornament a month. And then it got to like September and I hadn't stitched any. And I'm like, well, you know what? Stitching 2 ornaments a month is not that bad. And I have 2 unfinished ornaments. I need to put the beads on them, and I need to get them ready to be hung on a tree. I tried. I didn't do well on it. I don't know why I went on that bird walk. Oh, because I was going to tell you that was my WIP parade. And my new start for 2020, my January 1st start, will be Joyful Teddy. And I'll keep working and plugging away at my coffee tapestry or cross stitch. Why elevate it and call it tapestry? Although cross stitch is a specific kind of needlework. But that's where I am right now. I don't mind having a stash. In fact, my stash grows every day, including my needle minders. I've been buying so many of them. Little strawberry shortcake, right? Little Tinkerbell in a shoe. These were they were $4 or I don't know. They were on one of the stash unload sites, unloading, and I become addicted. And so you do have to be careful because sometimes you can buy the chart much cheaper. But you can also find on the sites where they're offering out of print that they have. And sometimes it's the luck of the draw. And I bought some fabric, I purchased some bags, and I have purchased a couple of charts, but I'm not going to go through all those today. I think I have enough. I have a feeling I'm near the hour mark, 45 minutes to an hour. So thank you for turning in. I'm waving here as I'm working my finger to point at the subscribe button. Please subscribe and like my video if you did enjoy it, and leave some comments below. What would you use instead of light effects to get that sparkle in your work? Is Krennic better? I have a feeling that it was because I used 2 strands. I do, but Happy New Year, happy holidays.